The big story in solar manufacturing over the last decade and a half has been a move overseas from places like the US. We have 5 companies maybe that produce 80% of the solar cells that are available for purchase globally, and that leads to a lot of supply chain bottlenecks. We need access to the entire supply chain to be more reliable, to be less concentrated, and ideally to be here in the US. So LEAP's innovation is to replace silicon wafers, which are the part of a solar cell that actually absorbs sunlight and convert that sunlight into energetic electrons, with a layer of silicon powder.
We are eliminating the most labor-intensive, the most capital and carbon-intensive pieces of the supply chain with an additive manufacturing process that allows us to go straight from the silicon powder to a finished solar cell. And with this process, we can reduce material silicon consumption by about 90%, energy consumption to produce solar cells by about 70%, and in that process, reduced overall cost by around 50%.
And that in turn means that we can produce those solar cells here in the US at about half the cost of importing silicon wafer-based cells. So we're looking to plug that gap in the supply chain with a process that goes directly from this refined silicon to a finished solar cell that can go straight into a solar panel. By removing a lot of the waste that's inherent in the current process, we are able to produce cells here in the US at about half the cost of an imported cell. You know, getting into physics and engineering, I was sort of looking for places where I could have sort of a positive social impact as well, and that got me into solar energy. Started working on it on research lab in college and got really excited about it and kind of working on it ever since.
Growing up in Argentina, I was always focused on solving the country's most devastating problem, which is access to water resources. So I started my career as a water engineer. But my passion has always been to help humanity thrive in a sustainable way, and that means both environmentally and economically. So over time, I learned that energy is the backbone of essentially everything that we're doing as a society, and that making solar affordable and equitable and ubiquitous is the best way to address sustainability problems with a market-based, sustainable solution. Without CalSEED, the LEAP idea would have never matured into a real project. CalSEED has not only provided us with the economic support to grow the team, to build an infrastructure that is enabling us to advance the technology, but it's also been super helpful in the network of like-minded peers that are helping us in the day-to-day to help push our technology forward. In order to take solar to the next level, we need a step change in innovation. We need to improve productivity and efficiency, and in that process, allow us to bring back solar manufacturing in a way that's scalable domestically.
The main thing that we want people to remember about our technology is that we are addressing gaps in the supply chain with a more efficient manufacturing process that can deliver low-cost solar panels, energy security, good jobs, and solar energy that we can be excited is not only decarbonizing our energy system, but also doing it in a way that's providing economic and environmental benefits all the way through the supply chain.